and it's going. So thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is John A. Lay with the Panic Button, and we're going to be talking about investigating social media during threat assessments. So what does that mean? Well, let's first start a little about myself. I'm the CEO of Peace at Work, an agency dedicated to stopping violence in and through the workplace. And then we also provide the e-Panic Button with me and my colleagues. And that's a great program, which at the end I'll do a demonstration. If you all want to stick around, you can watch that. A little bit about myself. I was the training director for a public health initiative, really, looking at preventing violence using a public health model through the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill's Injury Prevention Research Center. I learned a lot there. Before that, I was the workplace violence specialist for the North Carolina Office of State Personnel, so I did all the policies, training, and program development, and consultation for all the state agencies and universities. And then before that, I was with the Asheville Police doing victim services that really led me to do crime violence prevention due to the fact that I had to respond to so many crime scenes. Well, the other second thing I want to mention that's also very important is please understand that, I'll start with legal stuff. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is just about technically what's possible. I am not an attorney, and many of these subject matters really require your legal counsel before you actually take any actions or develop anything. Another point I just want to put out there is this is emerging not only just technology, but it's emerging within the legal world. So there's a classic statement of laws do not keep up with technology. And you get 10 attorneys in a room, they're not going to agree on anything. Well, you may not get 3 attorneys to agree on anything regarding social media and what employers or schools or even anyone, a member of the public, could look up. The other point I want to make is it's very much an emerging technology as well. So I'm learning this, and there certainly are people better than myself, but I've learned quite a bit. Hopefully I can inform some of you. Maybe if you know some tips and tricks and things, send it my way, and we'll include that in the next time we run this program. All right. The other thing I want to do is just get into it. What's this all about? And I think we all are familiar with this face and name, the man who shot so many poor innocent folks in Arizona. I had a brain freeze. And certainly Representative Kathleen Giffords was shot in the parking lot. The thing that's notable about this is how much online was available, and in particular what we see in the middle with the handgun and what's that, the United States history book. That was from his MySpace book. But what does this relate to? Well, maybe some of you all might know that previously he was at a school called Pima Community College, and he had a lot of issues there, speaking up in class, saying disrupting things in class. They've had numerous meetings with him, and it turns out that one of the officers on campus came across a video on YouTube, and I can't show the video through GoToMeeting. The technology-wise, it's not there yet to easily share video through desktop sharing. It looks really choppy and poor, so I decided not to do that. But I'm showing you the transcript of what he said, and you can read that for yourself. But the thing that comes to mind, though, is they knew he had this account. He had an account called Class It Up 10. This was posted under 2 ploys, so there's no reference to Jared Lochner in any of this. But an officer, maybe searching for anything reference to their school, sees this, recognizes his voice, and at one point during the video, he videotapes a window, and the reflection from the window, you see him, and the guy says, yep, that's Jared. Due to this, they removed him from the campus, and they said, you must seek mental health counseling, and until you are in such a program or a note from the doctor, quote unquote, you will not be let back on campus. And very easily, given what he did, you could obviously see how this could have been easily another shooting on campus, but they took some action. I imagine, I bet they had some sort of emergency response plan if we returned to campus, and we got to applaud that officer for looking at this. So I want to do the same thing for you. Let's prepare you for your workplace and your campus to be vigilant online about possible threats. So what I'll do is I'll try to emphasize, showing you a number of cases where social media was used or wasn't used to prevent something. What sort of things we're looking for. Obviously, what kind of sites we can hit, like, everyone thinks about YouTube and Facebook, but there's certainly a lot more. And then how you could use this to actually really is a emergency action plan, like to use this for active monitoring of an individual to test their mindset. And then, of course, what I think is most valuable is I'm just going to show you a handful of tools, and there's plenty out there, and it's growing, and I got a little drowned in the number of tools that are out there. But hopefully I can give you tips, some new stuff. And then soon we'll talk about legal issues. Briefly, I just want to really cover social media policy towards the end, which is important. But the bottom line, of course, is talk to your own attorneys before you take any action or set up any programs. Well, bam, here's what we're talking about. Did you all know that you were it 19 or 2006? 2006, you were a Time of the Year person of the year for Time Magazine, and it's all about this huge Web 2.0 presence, that it's not about companies presenting something or the media presenting something, it's about us presenting out to them and to each other. And at this point, I thought I might have, oh no, I'm going to do that in a little bit, that's right. Now, I'm hoping I don't really need to argue with any of y'all that how important or how common social media is, especially for younger generations. If you know anyone, I bet many of you all use it, and then certainly, let's say 30 and under, it's ubiquitous. It's the way people communicate. And that's actually a very important point I want to make. It's not just how popular it is, but it actually is the form of communication. So it's not like, oh, I use this to check up on my cousins in Alabama. It's really about, this is the way I express myself. I'll tell a quick little anecdote. It's kind of funny. These two young girls were wandering the drainage pipes in Australia. They have these giant, getting ready for flash floods, these giant caverns, which they funnel any sudden excuse me, a lot of water coming through. So anyways, these girls are lost down there. They have their phone. Yay, they have their phone. Call 911. Nope. Call mom and dad. Nope. They update their Facebook saying that they're lost. And then their friends read it. They call their parents. The parents call the police or emergency rescue, and they save the girls. But that's the mindset. I need to tell someone something. I'm going to update my Facebook instead of calling or other means. Now let's talk about you all. I'm tired of talking. Let's see what you do. I'm real curious about you. So I've just launched a poll, and let's see what you're looking at. Can you click on that? Let me know. What do you do? You got a Facebook, LinkedIn, and this polling unit only allowed me to do a few. So like 5, so I know there's like dozens, but here are the big ones, and if there's one that you want. And yeah, thankfully you could select more than one. I'm in all of it, so I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm closing it up, and now I'm sharing it. It should go out in a second. Let me see what you're looking at. There, I think you've got the view of it, don't you? It's really hard for me to see. Well, oh golly, everyone's got on Facebook, LinkedIn is wonderful, YouTube, of course. And by the way, when I say YouTube, we all check out sneezing pandas and funny stuff like that. But do you have an account? Do you post? Do you have your own channel? Twitter, the one I thought no one really thinks of, but it's very popular and used a lot, is Craigslist. It's more than just looking for firewood or selling your Honda. It's also a way of communication. But bam, I think what we've seen right there is how ubiquitous it is. Of course, some of you are consultants or businesses. We know how to use this for our business development, but we use it so much personally as well. So that was interesting. All right. Oh, wait a minute. I got to make sure that I'm hiding that. Okay, I want to make sure you're back to seeing. Yes, you're back to where I am. What are we going to do now? Let's get down to the important stuff. The issue is, so what are you going to do? Monitor everyone on your campus or all of your employees? Well, there's technical and legal issues around that. What's most common when we look at the cases, it's what I call the bystander. It's someone who comes across something, who either knows the person if they're a friend on Facebook, or you're surfing YouTube and you come across something weird, and they come forward and tell someone. The problem with that is we need this culture, this society where people see something that is not right and they have a concern and they step up and say something. Now there's concerns about Big Brother and this paranoid society, but it kind of follows along with the Homeland Security stance of see something, say something. And in this case, certainly if you read someone's post and they're threatening someone or it sounds really scary, speak up, do something. I believe most of us won't, sadistically want to see something happen. It's more about, not taking it seriously or not taking the time. This reminds me, there was a horrible case of a man saying he was going to commit suicide online live. So some sort of chat. I don't think he had a webcam, but he was posting saying, at this time I'm killing myself, and all these people were encouraging him and saying, some people were trying to discourage him, but the whole point was lots of people knew he was doing this. Okay. The other thing where it comes into play, though, is I believe if you know someone in person or on site, in your face, or if there's a report, an incident that occurs, this is what you could do to instigate the investigation. A student makes some threatening, strange remarks in class, start an investigation, take a half an hour to go see if they've got a YouTube account and what they're posting there. Simple as that. Now, I'm not getting into threat assessment, the full process here, but I just want to introduce it as part of social media. One of the big questions I've got is who's handling this, literally, meaning do you use your information technology folks because they're more savvy and more connected, and some of the tools are, even though I have a software company, I'm a little wary about how to work this stuff. However, some of the stuff you're doing really requires a law enforcement perspective, and even their capability. For instance, when we talk about social engineering and creating a fake profile, like assuming a personality to get someone's confidence, that really is very much a law enforcement role. So one thing I've been seeing in reality is many law enforcement officers are getting very, very savvy in this, and it's more that you just got an officer who gets it and gets it. I want to repeat again, I really believe that this is really just for misconduct, or if you have a potential threat. I'm just maybe taking a personal stance on this, that I don't think it's right to broadly filter and screen your entire company or entire campus employees. You can be screening what's being said about your organization or your school, but well, I'll talk about that later. And then, of course, have your authority with legal issues. And whatever you gather, please understand there's confidentiality issues as well. One note, when we're talking about employees, there are Title VII protection issues you have to think about. For instance, if you're investigating about their affiliations with a minority group, and if you're digging into what they're doing within a minority organization or Yahoo group, please understand that there could be an argument that your disciplinary actions were based on discrimination. Again, talk to your attorney, bottom line. All right, so what are we doing? Who are you investigating? Is this like a random threat and there's some guy named, Imperial Wizard 101 who's doing this and you're trying to find who they are? At which point there's identification tools. There's more technology to trace back to the IP address to find out who they are. And then there's also social engineering. You could really do investigative work to determine their real identity. The other side of it is very often you know exactly who they are. You have their social security number and their full address and date of birth, but you're not sure who they're posting as. So you know Jared Lochner. You got a problem with him, but do you know that he's associated with the 2Ploy account over on YouTube? Well, basically what we're doing is we're gathering information. just for this assessment, we're trying to learn about weapons capability, their state of mind, maybe their history with violence. It might also, however, be that you're gathering evidence, like actionable evidence that they've committed a crime by making a threat, and that statement online is what you can use to press charges. Finally, I'll demonstrate how you could use this to continually monitor them. When we talk about microblogging, that's the whole point of like continual updates. Well, heck, you've got a feed to write to their personal thoughts, what's going on in their heads. If they got a little iPhone and every 10 minutes they're posting something, well, you know what's going on in their mind. What are we looking for? So we'll talk a little later about how, but right now, what? We're looking for threats. Did they actually make any threats? Especially when we start talking about threats to individuals, especially like dating violence. It's a huge issue with domestic violence about how people are making threats to someone. You can use this to charge them with communicating threats. Maybe your state's got another term for it. I want to know about their weapons, what they're capable of, what are they posting out there, what's going on in their lives, divorce, bankruptcy, health problems. How radical are their thoughts? Are they way out there with, you know, reptiles and alien reptile races controlling us? For you David Icke fans out there. Then there's the thing that's very interesting is they're posting their intentions, and for a criminal act, think about this. They are actually saying what they intend to do. So I'll talk about that a little later. And then broadly, what's going on in their minds, and then I mentioned again monitoring for imminent assault. Capability. Again, I wish you could see this. If you go to, I'll show you later where you can go to my site, and then you can get a link to our YouTube channel. And I've got this posted. This young man killed 10 people at a Finnish school, but I believe it was the day before, he posted this video on YouTube, and he points it at the camera, just shy of the camera. And by the way, that's a Desert Eagle, which you gun folks out there, that's a massive, massive weapon, a 50 caliber gun. And pretty impressive. He shoots it with one hand. That can't be it. Well, I'll have to look that up. And he says, you will die next. Now, very important point is, one is, you know he's got a gun. You know what's going on in his mind. And if you're trying to determine he's made some threats before, wow, that's a huge red flag. 2 points. A, he's posting it. So there's this issue of wanting to get it out there. It's like a broadcast in a sense. However, the thing that's also fascinating is he's Finnish, but he says it in English. And this really, I was talking to an officer about this, and you know, he said, you know, he's doing this because he knows if it's posted in Finnish, you know, a small percentage of the world will bother to watch it. But if it's in English, now you have the entire United States, Canada, United Kingdom looking at it. And in many ways, the internet language is English predominantly. So he knew it was going to go viral, and he would get that attention, that global attention that they seek through a manifesto. Okay. The second point I want to make is that very often when you're monitoring things, you can come up with a crime, like with a capital C. They are committing a crime by saying he's going to blow up this school. Well, that is, it's considered an arson threat. I'm not sure what the actual statute was. And somebody, a friend, I assume, a sort quote-unquote friend online on Facebook, sees it, tells officers that day immediately find them and arrest them because that's an actionable evidence. I say that as space because I thought he was in high school and there's a good chance he's under 18 and, you know, well, they posted it online, but I felt funny about posting a minor's face online. I don't want to get into emergency management, but here's a real good point about that the school took action online as well. So in terms of this is racing around the internet going, look what this post is, look at this post is. Well, use that tactic as well for your emergency management. We talk a lot about dealing with the media. Well, you have to deal with the social media as well and having an action plan for that. Other things we're looking at. I want to know what's going on in their lives. Often these acts are really suicidal. They're fatalistic. They commit suicide in a higher percentage of the cases. So if they got a health problem, you know, advanced prostate cancer. Maybe they're going for broke, but they got nothing else to lose, and this really gives you a sense of their mindset. Also, what's going on in terms of breakups, bankruptcies. People who commit these actions are very often on the edge. And what are the stressors? There's I guess you could say it's a myth that people commit these shootings just snap. And I agree that they snap, but things snap under pressure. Try to imagine you have a pencil in your hand and you're bending it slowly and slowly. That's that pressure. Yes, it's going to snap, but all those little creaks and cracks and pressure will show up as well, or will appear as these issues, these life-bottling issues. Again, you heard me say it before, but there's plenty of cases out here. Now, these two, we all know Chun-Li. I'm sorry I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm Korean, imagine that. But the other character I'm very interested in is Joseph Ferguson. They went with traditional news. They videotaped themselves and then mailed it to like broadcast news on television. But I bet now they certainly would just upload it to somewhere. And maybe there was something that might have happened at Virginia Tech. The thing I want to really emphasize is that criminals, like robbers, like Type 1 workplace violence, they never advertise their intentions. They want to get away with it. Please understand when they commit these individuals, it's about recognition. It's not about getting their job back or getting not failing a class or getting their girlfriend back. It's about you wronged me. I want everyone to know that you wronged me, and I want everyone to know that I am capable of setting it straight, and I'm going to punish you for hurting me. And with that, it gets out there. Golly, someone's asking, is that a cry for help? Are they asking someone to stop it? I don't know. I mean, that's a great point. I'm not a psychologist. I don't think so. My gut is no, that they don't want to be stopped, but they want people to know that they're mad. Yeah, okay. I got a lot to do, so I got a lot. I know you want to get into this stuff. Maybe I presented the argument to you that we need to do this now. How are we going to do it? We'll look at websites, look at tools, and briefly talk about, as you're doing this, a very important aspect of it is documentation as well. Especially if this ever goes to court, then you need to be proving what you did and how you did it. Okay. As I mentioned before, it might come to you. You were tipped off. Maybe they went off and said something inappropriate or threw a bottle at someone's car, and now you're starting an investigation. An important aspect legally is, who are they to you? Are they an employee? Are they a student? Are they just a stranger? Are they a boyfriend of an employee or a girlfriend of a student? And with that, there's different issues. Employees have, I believe, I want to say, have the most protection legally in terms of their privacy rights. But golly, Ned, it gets pretty broad out there. Also, I'd like to know, whoever it is, who are their friends. And this gets really complicated in terms of, I would never suggest asking someone to, there's a student you're concerned about, but this other student's friends with them, and you say, hey, can you do this? Don't bring them in to be part of the investigation. Your law enforcement will have some views and thoughts on this as well. And then, but what I want to know about them, especially when we talk about social engineering, we want to find out what they're into, what sports, hobbies, political interests. We all surf on the web, and we all have our favorite sites to go to. What are those? And then, obviously, the real gold mine is, what emails do they use? Screen names, nicknames, photographs, and I'll talk about that just in a moment. Here we go. We could look at Facebook, Twitter, MySpace. I can go on and on, right? It'd be silly. Actually, I'll demonstrate where you will see the mess of sites. But here are the top, what is that, 7? And Google+. I'm not too sure how Google+ is working out. I've been using it, but we'll see what happens there. Just to give you an example, of course, with our good old friend Facebook, here's an issue where we've got a person who made a threat, and he's talking about committing the issue of genocide at a school. And, they'd be similar in nature to the school shooting which occurred in Virginia Tech. So that's a terrifying thing. They look into it, they take action, and they're able to move on it. What we could do there is certainly be searching all of these sites by using some great tools. Two I'm going to demonstrate right away are Currently, spelled with a K, and Social Mention. Now, as I'm now getting into my list of tools and fun stuff, the thing I want to point you towards is, of course, our website. Yes, this is all some ploy for me to increase traffic to my site. But you go to epanicbutton.com, and then you click Campus Security. Again, I designed this a lot for campuses. Over here under Security Resources, I've got the Google Bookmarks of Online Investigative Tools. And this is just a public bookmark of my stuff that I follow. And every time I come across a cool site or a good article on online investigation tools, I post it up here. And yeah, there's a lot there. We got some time, look at it. You know, by the way, this isn't work. This is interesting. This is really interesting. You think about using this on yourself. You know, use all these tools to research yourself, and you'll be kind of surprised there. Let's go back to social media. And there's a great search tool. You all know about Google, but currently focuses just on Facebook and Twitter. Those are the two really big ones. And you could be looking for, I'm going to stick with this term of genocide. And NC State is right around the corner for me, so I'm going to just put that in there, and let's see what pops up. Dun, 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 dun. Again, we're searching Facebook. Good, thankfully. Yay, nothing there. So I'm glad for that. And I'm sure NC State is glad for that as well. However, you could, if you, again, you know someone's nickname, you know someone's term that they're really obsessed with the New World Order, and NCSU. Anyone posting stuff in there? Great. Nope, nothing in there too. But you can just sort of see where you can go with these issues. I had another one that I want to mention was Social Mention, and in this one, it searches everything. It can just search blogs, microblogs, networks, bookmarks, comments, and I think I did find something here a little earlier. I think I was searching comments, and this was certainly interesting. So I thought this was interesting. So wow, there's something about genocide and something about NC State. What's this all about? And here we go. We've got this person who's. I see there's a question. I'm going to answer it real quick. We've got this individual. There's something about something being posted on a bulletin board outside a dorm room, and the person's really mad about it. And it is interesting, you know, views of God. It's abortion's just fine unless the God of the Bible, if it does exist. And then there's other issues around the questions. Now, here, one thing that's important is who posted this, and it's Evil Penguin posted it. So that's interesting. Evil Penguin 234. So we can search what else is being done there. But that name, Evil Penguin, let's save that. All right, I copied it. And let's look around for that. But before I go much further, I see there's a question, and oh, the websites. No, again, go to my website and go to Campus Security, and there's a link right there to this bookmark, Google Bookmarks. It's a public bookmark page that I created for everyone, and hopefully you'll find that interesting and helpful. All right, let's move on. Here's the real issue. You don't know who they are or who they're posing as. So maybe we know Jared Loughner is dangerous, but who is he posing as? He's not putting it out there as jared.loughner@gmail. He's posting it as Tuploy. And, you know, what are we doing there? And, of course, the real problem is there's so many free accounts. You can go to a cafe and create a so the IP address is linked to the cafe, and there you create a Yahoo account for free, and then you really have no idea who they are. One tool that you can, or one method is people are actually pretty predictable in terms of using similar usernames. Maybe they have some catchphrase that they often have in a signature. I use a lot of, who's that guy? I like him a lot. Benjamin Franklin. I do quotes from Poor Richard Almanac. So if you're searching for me, maybe you just want to search for my favorite or Richard's Almanac quote, and you'll find me. The other thing that's very interesting, and it's going to grow and it's going to get much more serious, is facial recognition software, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But the other thing, though, is so we know that there's this person in Evil Penguin 234, and we might know that they're posting something under that name, and we know that everything he put there was okay. But this whole Evil Penguin, that's kind of a funny name. Let's see what else that person's doing. Real quickly, I want to demonstrate, I showed you like maybe the top 7 or 8 social media sites, but this organization, NameCheck, or this site, look at them all. More than 90–80% of these I've never heard of. I Like, About Me, Daily Boost, Flippy, I guess everyone's trying to be the next Facebook. But let's go with our friend. Let's go with Evil Penguin. And here's the issue that maybe we know under, I forgot, I didn't look under what site we looked at under, but let's see where else this person's got something. Well, boom, YouTube, they have something there. PhotoBucket, Vimeo. Oh, no, it's, I guess red means it's taken. And, guy, what time is it? Ooh, 1:32. I got to keep moving, but I'm really curious what's there. So apparently they got a Twitter account. And again, one thing you should please understand is it's maybe not the same person. That's a great issue, right? That, if you have something that's kind of not too unique, like Darth Vader is the username. Well, I bet a bunch of hundreds, thousands of geeks would love to have that for a username. The other point that I want to make is very often people will have that phrase Evil Penguin, but the 234 is just because you needed a number. If you don't find anything under Evil Penguin, but you happen to know this person's birthday, what I've seen a lot is it's the last 2 digits of the person's year. So I was born in 1968, so maybe, I might create an account. Johnny Lee would be really too common, but I might create an account, Johnny Lee 68. So, search that. I'm really holding back from searching YouTube for this person's stuff because I need to move on with the presentation, but later on I'm going to look and see what they've posted there. The other thing that I want to show, this is a very important one, is Spokeo. That is probably one of the most popular and powerful engines. It is an account you join. It's pretty cheap. I think it's like $3 a month, if I'm not mistaken. But let's go with that. So we know there's a username out there this person's using. And wow, so according to this, they've got nothing, which, by the way, is a very important issue, whereas you're going to find that there's going to be some inconsistencies there as well, meaning one site will pick up something and another will not. So I wouldn't rely on it on one entirely. But let's see what pops up with Evil Penguin, and maybe this person's created some other things. Looks like there's quite a bit out there. The so there we go, with online profiles, 34, 24 photos. And I think if we want to look at them, then we've got to have an account. And right now, actually, because we know who this person is, I don't want to get too detailed into it. But along with it, we could not only have that username, now we might be able to associate with an email. Or, boom, here's the gold mine, the actual name of that individual. So, again, Spokeo is a wonderful tool if you want to research someone. And also think about yourselves. Think about what's available about yourself. I encourage everyone to do a little search on themselves and realize what is so readily available online. Now, that was all about names and usernames, email addresses, stuff like that. But the one thing you might not be able to hide or change is a face. And with that, I just want to show you one thing I done before, and it's kind of interesting. I wanted to see what's out there with me, and no, that's not me. And looking for love in all the wrong places. I wonder who that is. There's that famous country singer. Where am I? Where am I? That's, oh, nope. I did shake my head once, but that was a while ago. There I am. Okay. Well, so check this out. I am part of a speakers bureau called the Elite Speakers Bureau with actually with Denise Brown with what's her sister's name? The woman who was killed by O.J. Simpson. Her sister speaks a lot and invited me to come in and speak as well. But this is something I want to point out that is pretty important. I use Chrome a lot, but you could also, if you're using Explorer or Firefox, there might be tools to do this. This image has a URL. There's an internet address for that image. What I'm now going to do is, now that I've got the image URL, I'm going to search for similar photos. So there's my face. I could download it onto my computer and then upload it, or I could just put in the URL of my face, and here's all of these sites that also have that same image. So, yep, I've spoken for United Family Services. Here's my old blog. There's a small business program that I did. And then there's the Speakers Bureau. And then I worked for some group for a HR consulting group called the HR Group. So, bam, now you find out what I'm also belonging to as well. So it associates you. You get an image or a tidbit from one site, and it leads you to something else that might be the interesting information that you're looking for. Again, the thing I want to emphasize is Google Images is really fascinating. TinEye, I'm going to move on because I need to, but there are sites out there, and okay, the free stuff I don't think is that great, but there's paid for things, and then investigators and Department of Defense and Homeland Security, it does have the cutting edge stuff where you have a photograph and it scans it, and it's biometrics. It's picking up the distance between your eyes, the size of your nose, the width of your mouth, and it's looking for your face, even though it's a different photograph somewhere else. And that stuff is, I bet if I searched some more, I could find a better free site. There we did. We already checked out that good-looking guy. Let's move on. The other thing I want to talk about is mindset. The thing that I'm really interested in is when people are posting in their blog. And, you know, the whole thing of Web 2.0 is let's tell us what you're really thinking. And if you know who they are, then you really get into it. Here we have this man named Neil Paul Baker, who was an employee at University of California, Santa Barbara. And he did not put his name anywhere on this, but through some good diligent searching, they found out that he posted this on Craigslist. And again, you think of Craigslist as, you know, looking for a cheap iPod, but it's actually very much a social media site. If you ever read the rants and raves section, or if you're really bored, read Best of Craigslist. That's hours of entertainment. Just read Best of Craigslist. Any which way, they came up with this, and when they saw that, they continued to monitor, and then they saw a different posting where he said, if Neil were to launch an attack on UCSD, would the body count exceed 10,000? That's not a red flag. That is an action item. That is, right now, you go find this person. You create alert systems. You create a BOLO out there, and you prepare the campus for something that might be imminently coming. Now, how do I do this, Johnny? Believe it or not, Google is an amazing tool, as you know. And as every one of us search 5 or 6 things a day, you may not be using the advanced search features. And this takes some time, but there's really ways you could search certain sites, eliminate certain aspects, and you can really hone down on finding what you want. By the way, for those of you on campus, I think you can use marketing folks for this because, or of course your information technology folks. A lot of other industries, professions are really advanced in this issue, and they could be teaching you. I wouldn't have them doing the work of searching someone, but they could teach you how to do it. The other point is you can specifically search a certain site. So for instance, you know, I got this whole thing about genocide on NC State, and I could search that, just those key terms, but because NC State is in Raleigh, I'm going to search the Raleigh Raleigh Craigslist. And it's actually Raleigh Chapel Hill Durham. Let's see what pops up. Boom, yay, nothing. So that is good news. But however, I'm going to show you how you can continue to use this. in other ways. So genocide's a tough word, but let's look something generic. You can imagine someone's trying to sell or buy books on Craigslist and reference NC State. So that's just showing, yes, it does really work. All right. The thing where there's a real value in this is, I know you're thinking, Johnny, I don't have time to be doing this every day. I've got, a department to run. I've got 5 cases, actively that I have to deal with. What I would suggest is you can set up alerts, meaning notifications when something pops up, and that's the real beauty. And essentially what I'm going to show you briefly is setting up an alert, and then it emails you. And some of you are like, BlackBerry junkies, or I guess from Crackberries, and you're always checking your email every 2 minutes. Or many of you might have a cell phone and you get text, and what you can do is have this set up so that it goes to your email, but you're carbon copying your cell phone as well. And the one that I'm most familiar with is Google Alerts. However, Yahoo Pipes and Bing Alerts are out there. I'll admit to you, I only found out about them. I haven't tested them myself, but you're welcome to. Oh, let me tell you about why we're doing this, because this is something I found really interesting. A young man drove into like the comic book section, the manga section in Tokyo, Akihabara, and I used to hang out there. And he drove his truck into there, and it pops out with a pair of knives and just starts, massacring people, just stabbing them. A true horrific tragedy. Well, so what, Tony? The issue is that over there they had this microblog called Extreme Exchange, which is the same thing as Twitter. And that day, here are his posts. And I'll let you read that, but golly, look at this. If he's my employee, if he's one of my students, and he's raised red flags and I'm monitoring him, and I want to follow his Twitters, I could be, checking my Droid all the time, following his tweets, or I could be searching for certain key terms on his Twitter account to feed it to me. But I mean, look at that. It's the real sense of imminence. The sense of real pending attack is so palpable here. What I suggest then is using Google Alerts to track someone. You could be searching a certain individual's blog. You can be searching for any references, whatever you want. Try to imagine you're just having a constant, continual Google alert, Google search, constantly going, and best part, notifying you when you get a hit, when it pops up. And so here's just an example. I'm working on a rock patio in my backyard, so I'm searching my Craigslist for if there's anyone selling like garden rocks out there. So I put that in there. What I've done is my key terms is rocks, and then the site that I want to search is Craigslist for my town, my city. And I want to know if anything pops up. Well, actually, because it's only within that site. If I didn't indicate the site, then it would search only certain news, or only searching blogs, or only searching videos. But I indicate a specific site. Now, this is the main thing. I want it to hit me as it happens. And darn, no one's giving away rocks now. I want to know the best results, and then what I'm doing is, I'm sending it to my Gmail account. Now, I set up my Gmail account to also carbon copy my cell phone. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. But that way, I get a page, I get a text, well, not a page, I get a text every time someone posts, hey, I'm giving away free rocks. And that's cool. The point that I want to make regarding text, do I have it in here? I did not put that there. All apologies. Sorry, I think I shifted it over when I went somewhere else. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, I know where it is. Okay, so I'll quickly go here. Again, if you go to our website under tech supports, you'll find reference to text addresses, and this is also under that bookmarks thing. If you ever want to send a text message to someone as an email, you just enter in their 4-digit number, and then if you know their carrier like AT&T, then it's at txtat.net. And by the way, if you don't like typing with your thumbs, you're sitting in a computer, but you need to get a text to someone. I do this all the time with my wife. I just quickly type out a text on my laptop, and that's how I get started. Boom, what else is going on? Now, oh my goodness, 15 minutes left. Let's talk about getting them to know you. So one note is this really has to be done, I believe, and I know it sounds like legal advice, by a law enforcement officer. Absolutely, an attorney should not do this. Absolutely, I don't think a counselor should be doing this. I don't even think teachers should be doing this. But because we're getting into investigations, when you create a fake personality and you try to get them to trust you. And that's what social engineering is. I've heard it's described as exploiting the human tendency to trust. Yeah, that's such a horrible statement, isn't it? What we want to do is get them to tell you what they really think. The whole point is, of course, what is your role, literally, like what's your title, and being very careful about entrapment issues. Now, to do this, of course, you want to create like a fake personality yourself. One issue with this is you should have done this, 5 years ago, and because if you start talking to me about stuff and I look up your profile, often it's posted when a profile was created, and if it was done November 15th, well, I don't really think you're really that person. And you got to be active. Yeah, maybe I created something back in 2004, but last post was in 2006. You know what I mean. Also, and it all depends on how savvy they are. If you're too perfect, then they may be suspicious. If you're always right there responding to them, this investigators know how to handle this. They understand what it is to do undercover work. One important aspect, though, is please be aware of how savvy they are technically, meaning they could use all these tools right back at you, and then they could see you're posing as some 18-year-old girl, the next town over, but the IP address comes from the police department on campus. Now, they, obviously, that you got a problem. One note is, it's kind of humorous here, but many of the perpetrators are men, and the investigators that I talked to all have created very attractive female personas, and it's pretty interesting, the conversations they get into to get them to engage in communication with them. I think you know what I'm talking about. A very great tool, a very simple way to get in with someone is to find out what associations or groups they're in. Among us professionals, I'm not sure who's on this presentation, and look at the attendee list recently, but like LinkedIn, you all know I'm interested in workplace violence. You go to LinkedIn, you see my name up there a lot. Now we can start chit-chatting, we can start creating this, online relationship, quote unquote. The one I'm showing you here, this is a organization called Stormfront that pushes white supremacy, and maybe that's the issue where you get in there, you start talking about things, and you start posting things, and they get a sense of who you are. Maybe then you can build some trust with them. A couple of points about all this search that you're doing, especially you're gathering information, and this is where the IT folks it gets a bit more technical, is how do you prove that it's from them? And meaning, everyone says, well, I did a screenshot. Well, all that is a bunch of pixels, of an image. Or you can say, oh, I printed out that page. Well, you could have done that on, Publisher or Photoshop. You could have created that. So there's ways of saying, yes, definitely at this time, at this site, this information came from that website. Golly Ned, email headers, I've been learning a lot about that a lot of times you get an email from jaylee at pcwork.org, but it really came through somewhere else. And I'm learning a bit about that some more, but again, that's where your IT team folks could learn a lot. One site that I thought was fascinating was Wayback Machine, and I thought I created it. Didn't I put it up here? I thought I did. Is that it? Nope. It's not that one. Sorry, folks. I will have to look it up again. I must have moved it on. Essentially, when someone posts something on their blog and it's pretty offensive or scary, and then they realize, oh, that was a mistake, and wisely they take it down. Good idea. However, so you go back to that site, and it's no longer there. Wayback Machine is a pretty neat tool that like archives websites. And I'm looking at my own. I just went through a lot of changes on my site very recently, and I'm pretty stoked about it. I think it looks better now. But what did it look like before? Oh, now I'm embarrassed because it was pretty. It's not even that great now, but let's look at it. What was this back in 2000? Oh, wasn't that handsome? March 4th, 2008. Maybe I posted some radical thoughts up here, realized that was a dumb idea, and removed it. Well, no, nothing's ever really gone from the web. Back here, you could be seeing what I posted and I was up to. Boy, I was busy, wasn't I? That was a busy spring. Yeah, I remember this event. That was a good event. So again, Wayback Machine, it's an archive tool for websites, blogs, whatever. Find out. I'm not promoting any of these. I don't know them directly, but here are some organizations. You might be thinking this is all beyond me. Do you recognize the need? Well, there are growing numbers of investigators specifically looking at this. Most of this stuff is around reputation defense, like you are with McDonald's, and someone keeps posting about how evil, French fries are. These are tools. These are companies that really help track what's being said, especially with ex-employees and stuff like that. However, it's the same stuff, the same expertise that they could use to do threat assessments, and you can look them up. Although I really think there's a growing opening field for social media investigators. You want to talk about new and emerging trends, new businesses. If you're anyone out there looking for a job, man, if I was starting over, I think I would maybe become a social media investigator. And I'm sorry, we got a question, I believe, don't we? I thought I saw a question. Oh, nope, I could be wrong. All right. Social media policies, it's really important. Whatever you're going to do, this is not legal advice, however, I guess this is, I do suggest that you have a social media policy for your organization. Now, a lot of that falls around being transparent, being honest, but it could also, you can have that language in there letting them know, hey, we're going to be following what you're doing online, and that might affect your ability to go to school here or to be involved on our campus, so or be an employee. So like what you do outside of work does impact you. The thing that I want to point out, this is, again, just for educational institutions. However, actually, I'll show you somewhere else. If you're with a school, here is a list of it's a spreadsheet of all these higher educational institutions with their social media policies. The whole thing. Don't reinvent the wheel. Find an organization similar to your own and go to there. If you're not with an educational institution, I have in here somewhere. I'm sorry, I'm not going to waste your time anymore. But in this site, I've got it for all industries, media industry, accounting firms, blah, blah, blah. You can find a company like yours and copy their social media policy for yourself. Oh, there's a question. Yes, I'll send out copies of the slides to everyone after this. And I'm recording this as well. I've got to upload it to Vimeo, and that might take a while, though. Okay, concerned. Who are you? As an investigator and you're impersonating someone, that might have legal ramifications. The other thing that you absolutely must be aware be hesitant of is any sort of entrapment. You can't say, man, I really hate the president and someone should shoot him, and yeah, that'd be really great if someone shot him, and yeah, do you think you could do it because I know you're a good shot? You know, obviously, and then they carry it out. You can imagine the ramifications of that. The other thing is, of course, fraud. And I know no one's going to do that, but anyway, you promise things. These are crimes, right? Entrapment's a crime. Fraud. Well, I'm not sure entrapment's a crime, but fraud is a crime. If you're promising to deliver something or do something and you don't follow through, and it's certainly ID theft. And what I'm talking about here is a very quick way to get someone's trust. Is you know, go search classmates, and searching around, you find out that their old girlfriend was Sally Mann. Okay, well now you create this Sally Mann persona. You gather everything you can on her, finding photos, finding what she's doing in life, and now you pretend you're her in order to earn that person's trust. Obviously, I mean, do I have to explain that there's not only ethical issues, there's absolutely legal issues with that as well. I got to throw this out here because it makes me angry, actually. There's some arguments out there about saying how you could data mine. So I'm not talking about searching a certain person or searching the Internet for what's being said about you, your company, or your school, but the Internet service that you provide, the Wi-Fi, it is possible to filter that, to be looking for certain things. So everyone on your campus that's using your Internet service that you provide, you can be filtered for looking for information. That's too big brother for me. That's not really me as a consultant saying that. I'm just saying that as an American citizen. And there's possible legal issues. There's another subject, however, about the actual computers. If you provide the laptop, you provide the desktop, like in a computer lab, that I could see that argument a little bit more being where you're filtering what's being said in there. Now, you can always block things, like, of course, like blocking porn sites and stuff like that. But to me, you know, this is maybe legal advice, you know, post it saying, look, we are monitoring what is being done on this computer. We're tracking it. And if there's any legal and ethical issues, there could be repercussions. I think full disclosure is always the bottom line. But please understand that well, you know, it could be happening anyway, too, right? It doesn't matter what you think. It could be happening anyway. Wrapping it up, folks. Where are we? Hopefully we're not. That was it. Oh, we're late. One point. A very important part with threat assessment. Let's get back to the point. You are determining capability, mindset, some history. Define exactly what you're looking for, because otherwise it's like saying, go search the Internet on this subject. Where do you stop? You will get overwhelmed. You saw me getting carried away with the evil penguin stuff. You could spend 3 weeks searching one person on a certain subject. So focus what you're looking for. Have a social media policy. Follow through with it. And then please understand everything I'm saying, there's more to it, and it's changing, and you're going to find 5 very smart people who disagree with it. So it's a very complex issue. Again, I will be making copies of the slide and sending it to you. Please, again, go back to the websites that I showed you, where we've got a lot of resources, not only on this subject matter, but broadly about security, threat assessment, I'm looking at dating violence on campus, all this stuff. And I got to do a pitch here. Of course, we've got a great product with the ePanic button. I'll be glad to do a demo afterwards. Questions and answers. Actually, before we do that, I just want to mention, again, next Tuesday we've got the event on workplace violence incident review. It's not instructional. I open up the mics, and I really encourage you to comment and bring up new cases, and we'll look at what happened the past 2 weeks and what could have been done to have prevented it. And now I'll go back to Q&A. Again, use your questions tab. If you really like, I might be able to unmute your mic. Just raise your hand and I'll unmute your mic. There's a feature there where you can raise your hand. It's just about 2 o'clock now. I apologize if I didn't give much time for Q&A. It could be that I was so comprehensive that I've answered every question that you've had. I'll let this go a little bit more. Slides, absolutely yes. About an hour or two after this event, there'll be an auto reply email going out, and it'll have a copy of the slides and this recording. All right. Questions. All right, you're losing me, folks. So I'm going to pop right over and show you the coolest thing in the world. That I really do like it. I mean, I show people this all the time, and they go, "Wow, that's really cool." And I go, "Yeah, it is." It's our panic button, and just real briefly, if I could show you what it's all about. Well, obviously, you're already listening in. It's all about it's sort of this egalitarian approach of we want everyone to have the ability to not only summon support, but also, as I'll show you, to actually be involved in the security process, to address it early. Not having, the SWAT team running down the hallway, but just a supervisor or a coworker coming in to help. Because the issues we've got isolated and threatened employees who really just need someone to come by at the early stages. Have you ever been talking to someone and you just get a bad vibe? Maybe they start acting all squirrely, they are behaving around you. It's not threatening. You surely can't call the police. You just want someone to come on by. And so you need to let someone know that you're in trouble. You don't, and this is not about notifying the entire campus to go into lockdown. It's just, again, your supervisor or their professor in the classroom and some students acting up, and maybe you do want security to remove them, or maybe you just need to get an additional person to offer support. It's pretty cool. You're like, what is it, Johnny? Let me show you what it does. If you can look down at the bottom right of my screen by my Wi-Fi signal, there's a red circle. I'm going to mouse over it. And then here are our 3 buttons. Now, you create the buttons. We have a default of support, meaning like low-level concerns, just, hey, can you give me a hint here? Or a high-level issue, security. And there, that means, law enforcement or, letting people know they're going to lockdown. But I was doing a demo for someone earlier, and, let's say one of your employees has a restraining order against Jack, ex-boyfriend Jack. Well, in 2 minutes, you could create a button called Jack is here, and maybe you're the parking attendant person, and you recognize Jack's car. Jack's pulling into the driveway. Well, click that button, and then whatever protocols you set up will be initiated. Well, what happens? Let's look. Jack is here. Oh no, Jack's here. This pops up on anyone else's computer that you choose. And so what we could say is, I'm the security director, and I go, oh no, Ellie, Jack is here. We need to take some actions. I've muted this for the presentation, but there's also an audible alarm. There's dun, 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 and that lets you know. So Johnny at the admin department, at the front office, he's saying Jack is here, and he's asking us to initiate our emergency response. Call 911, lockdown. Get the assessment team here as well. Well, I'm the security guard. I want the parking attendant to know that I got the message, so I'm going to click respond. This stops the flashing and beeping, and it also, I have my headset on. That's why the thing, I was listening to music earlier, and I have my headphones up. What this does when I click respond, on the sending computer, it turns the little red circle that turns green, and that lets them know that they're coming. And that's what makes it so cool. Now, along with that pop-up, it also sends emails and text messages as well. So let me just show you. I just showed you what it looked like, but you can mouse over and do that. However, you're like, oh, that's too slow or cumbersome. Well, you could set up any hotkey. You can make it Control B. No, that's bold. Control, what's a good letter? D. Control D sends out support, but Control G sends out the security message, and Control J sends out Jack is here. Or we have optional foot pedals. If you don't want to move your hands, well, you could mash the foot pedal. For those of you who are not in North Carolina, mash means to press. And what it does is, as you saw, it sends out a pop-up, sends emails to anyone, and text messages. The way that's all set up is it's all easily done from one website. You go in there, And everyone can have different buttons, or everyone can have the same one. Can you call someone via the computer, someone else at the same time via the foot pedal? Oh, so no, there's no, if the question is voicemail, does it send a pre-recorded voicemail? No, but what it could do is, like I said, send them a pop-up to their computer, send a text to their phone, send an email to both their phone and their computer. Can you call someone? No, but the question is if you can set up audio. I think that's a really cool idea, and I've been asking about it. So, you send an audio stream of the threatened person to the receiver so they can listen in what's going on. I don't think that's what you were asking, but I thought that was cool. And I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question completely or right. Please repeat it, or I'll hit you back and make sure I answer correctly. The point being, what I was saying here is, you could create different groups. So like on a campus setting, you've got admin, library, gym, art department, English department, financial aid. All of those people can have different buttons and have different receivers. And then you can easily copy buttons as well and just tweak it. Well, the admin security guard's this guy, and the gym security person is this woman, and you can just tweak it real quickly so you can quickly deploy it out real fast. Well, that's all up in the server, but then how this interfaces with the computer is there's a small little package you can put on each computer, but nothing gets relayed up to the internet. It's all peer-to-peer. As long as your network is up, the message will go. As long as your email system's up, your emails and your text messages will go. So there's no requirement from that internet connection to our server for it to work. The thing that really rocks about this is that it's so fast to set up. Again, we created these default buttons that are, low-level support, high-level security. Honestly, I've done this. I do it all the time. For a small office, it takes you about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, especially if you have someone technically savvy, and we have plenty of videos and slideshows on how to set it up. All you got to do is download it. The end user just puts in name, department, telephone, email, location, click OK, and you're done. Literally, that's all it takes to install it. I mentioned again, you could change these buttons. I have some companies that create medical alert buttons. There's the, oh, thank you. Yes, Anthony, you got to go. Thank you very much. You have a wonderful week and Thanksgiving if we don't speak sooner. I got a bigwigs, the manager types who create buttons that go just to their administrative assistant, and the button is called Get Me Out of This Meeting. So again, the versatility is all up to your, only limited by your imagination. I got to remember that catchphrase. And the thing that I think is really awesome, traditional panic buttons just send off a plain signal that goes beep, beep, beep in some room. With ours, you've got different messages telling them the nature and the level of concern, and it goes to different people with different messages depending upon their role. So security cards are told, come here. Department managers warned, hey, you got a situation. Coworkers are told to go into lockdown or stay away. Or low-level concerns, coworkers are told to come and help, and only later does it escalate to get security. And then what I typically say is maybe a risk manager for high-level concerns. Maybe your risk manager in Orlando gets an email and a text saying, hey, we got a situation in the Topeka office, and we need to have that media expert come and deal with this situation. So all that's from one single click. I showed you the respond feature. I only have one computer that I can desktop share with, so it goes off. You click it, and then the sender sees, oh my goodness, hey, wow, it turned green. That means someone manually clicked it. It's not that they were in the bathroom and never saw the message, and technically, went through, but did they really read it? That does not change unless someone manually clicks it. One thing I didn't show is that those receivers can add notes. So if you're a security guard, type in your notes to that incident, and it's associated with that alert. Now you can export this out into a text file to print or email or save or put on a CD or bring to your next quarterly security meeting. And now you have a graph, a chart of, we had 7 incidents in the front lobby, we had 3 incidents at financial aid, 5 of these incidents kept involving the same guy, Johnny. we got to do something about Johnny. Yep, it's software, but as you know from this, we're really, really about trying to protect you and your coworkers and your clients and your community. So you saw the webinars we provide. I'm always up for, a conversation about sending you resources. You want to talk about something. I have to admit, if we come in and we do more advanced training, then we may have to talk about that's additional service. But we're really there's so much free stuff out there that I can point you towards that could help you. The thing is, please understand, like the setting it up, if you're thinking about it, no one goes to your place. You don't have to schedule a meeting. I'm not going to mount anything on your desk. And if you do move, it's just a matter of unplugging your computer, plugging it in somewhere else. Now, if you change your location, obviously you want to state in your profile that you're in a new location. But again, just there's nothing to do but turn your computer on. It's cheap, I think. The mid-size company, you just want to give it to a floor, or some key personnel in your organization. Let's say you got 40 people. Let's say you give it to 40 people across your campus. Well, for the cost of a cup of coffee for an entire month, you've given them this security and this options, just for the price of a cup of coffee for that individual. So try it out. And that's who's using it? Golly, everyone. Meaning the broad breadth of who's got it. It's a lot of government, healthcare, and education, but sadly enough, faith community, drug rehab centers, accountants, lawyers. Whatever your industry is, I can probably find someone geographically close to you or within your industry similar that can give a reference. Please try it out. It takes us 2 minutes to set up your account. We give you a username, password. You log in, you get the download, put it on a handful of computers, play with it, create some buttons, technically make sure that your IT team likes it, your end users make sure that well, there's nothing to it. You press a button and it works. Setting it up, they just have to put in their name, phone number, and address. That's all there is to it. So it takes 2 minutes for us to set up. There's no obligation. Like, we don't collect your credit card before we give you the trial. Try it out. It's pretty easy. Pretty cool. And what time is it? It's almost time to get going. So I will now make myself a nice cup of tea. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful Turkey Day. And afterwards, join us for that round table we're going to be doing next Tuesday. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll get to follow up with the stuff, the, recording and the handouts. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.